So, last time I put some diary together, I was, it was Saturday evening, I think. On Sunday, I had quite a relaxed morning. Well, it was relaxed in a way, but I was having to write a sermon, um, and I was going to get it printed out somewhere in town, and then I thought, oh, I'm not sure I want to get a sermon printed out here, so I put it all on my iPhone, and I thought, well, maybe it won't work. But as it was, it worked really fine. I got to the church. I was picked up about 2 o'clock, and there was almost no one in the church. It was almost completely empty in Sajid. There was 200 people. So I thought, well, maybe it's not a good day or something. And anyway, I sat at the back of the church. I got a proper seat. Everyone was sitting on the floor, the ladies on the right, the gentlemen on the left. And from 2 o'clock until at least 10 to 3, people steadily came in and came in and came in until it was completely full. There was a good 200 people. Maybe it was even a bit more than 200. And the music, so I'd started off with the zoom, with the sound turn, the sensitivity turned right up, and I thought, gosh, it's really loud in here. So I had to turn it right down, and so I don't think you can actually hear my sermon, because my sermon was an awful lot quieter. I think maybe you can hear Sajjad. I'm not sure I was using the mic quite right, but the sermon was some some stuff Jenny and Lauren had written, and then some thoughts I'd had of walking around the mountains. And then it finished about 4. The sermon was exactly the right length. He told me 45 minutes, and it was 45 minutes. And then there were some prayers and some more singing, and then everyone sat down and ate together. Everyone sat on the floor, and the food was brought. And everyone was fed inside 30 minutes. It was no more than 30 minutes. It might have been 20 minutes. And everyone had a good meal. And then I spent the afternoon playing Uno, or Ono, as they have a local version, and with the 3 kids. And then we had some food just with one of the families next door, and looked around the hostels. And then I went to bed. And then yesterday dawned, and we were looking to go off early to come up here. And got ready, and Sajjad turned up, and Hamid wasn't there. And I said, well, where's Hamid? This is the summit at the summit. And he said that he really wanted to stay behind at the school. So anyway, we went to the school, and we pleaded with him, and we persuaded him to come with us. But instead of coming up here for 3 days, we came yesterday, and we're going back today. But we're going to stay relatively late in the day. So we came, it was about an hour and a half's drive from Gilgit down to the dropping off point, I think. And then, first of all, you take a jeep, and you can only come up by jeep. You're not allowed to bring your own car. Actually, having come up, it's quite right you don't bring your own car, because it's very narrow. All of the jeep drivers are experts. They can even pass. And it was narrow, this track, really narrow. And they say no one's ever crashed, which I understand, because this is their community. They drive very cautiously. They give everyone plenty of space, and it felt dangerous, but I think it's quite safe. And we got up to as far as the road goes. We had a bit of lunch, had some drinks, had some more drinks, and then we set off up here. And I think, I might be wrong, we set off at 2,400 metres. I think the bottom would be 1,200 metres, 1,000 metres. You couldn't really see Nanga Parbat at all from the bottom. And we're now, I'm told, 3,400 metres. I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong. So that's 11,000 feet. I mean, we're a long way up here. And as I got up, it really, became quite breathless. It was an easy walk, to be honest, by ordinary terms, but with my unfitness, together with the altitude, I was breathing pretty heavily. It took us about 3.5 hours, and it's well worth the walk up here. You'll see some of the other video. It really is a spectacularly beautiful place. Our only challenge is, the mountain's clearing a bit. I'm not sure you can see. Got some nice clear shots last night in the dark, but during the day there seems to be quite a lot of cloud whooshing around. So anyway, we're hoping to do some spreadsheets up here. And it's really terrific. I mean, Sajjad and Hamid, it turned out neither of them have been up here to what is actually Fairy Meadows. And there's this completely flat, unexpected meadow. I went and took some pictures on it this morning, and not sure I was entirely popular. There's a slightly uneasy balance, I would say, between the village life, there's a proper village up here, and the tourism, which I assume is coming with their blessing, but you then get loads of tourists taking pictures of their life all the time, and I can understand they're a bit fed up. So I took pictures of these two donkeys, and the daughter of the owner, I guess, came in immediately, moved the donkeys, and gave me a stern look like I'd done something wrong. I mean, I'm not taking pictures of the kids, but to be worried about taking a picture of the donkey, it seems a bit odd, but it's their community. So we're not really going to go anywhere. We're already in a lovely spot here. I don't see the point of going anywhere. We're going to try and get some strategic planning done, and some video as the weather's nice, as it is right now. So only tomorrow now. Go back tonight and then tomorrow for a wrap up, and be heading back. There's no doubt we'll stay in contact a lot. Contact is going to be slightly difficult, but this has to be the start of the conversation between us. So that's it. Signing off for now.
Well, as I told you that God brought me to the Gilgit-Baltistan, and then gradually small projects like adult literacy and the coaching center and the RVDP work amongst the Gujars were started. RVD is a remote village development program. It's a program specially for those people who live on the high mountains. They are the poorest, they are the rejected people, and disadvantaged people, and uneducated people. So this program was started to reach those people. So while all these small projects were there, and then in year 2007 we all decided to set up a NGO with the name of Shining Light. Because these projects were growing, so we put all the projects together under one umbrella, and that umbrella got the name of Shining Light Community Development Organization.
Where did the name come from? Why did you choose Shining Light?
Well, we prayed all together. We wanted to seek the will of God, and then all together, it was not just me, there were other fellows as well, godly people. And then all together, we come up with the name Shining Light Community Development Organization. So this organization was registered in 2008, and then work started to grow rapidly. So things were growing up, and more people were trained, and more children were in the school, and uh, more women were graduating. So then in year 2011 there was a big incident took place. Osama bin Laden was killed in Ahmedabad city. So, and because of that, some of our key people, they lose their visa, and shining light registration was even cancelled. So there was no registration. The key team fellows, they lost their visas, and even there was a big financial crisis in the shining light because of the international recession. So then we started to make a new team, started to work on the restoration of the registration, and started to look for the new partners. And thanks God, especially for the rope, in the time of financial crisis, rope never ever left us alone. They stood up and they contributed good size of funds, to help us to, especially to keep on running the RVDP program and Women Vocational Training Center and the scholarship program. Well, now our registration was given back to us by the government in 2014. Government realized that the work Shining Light is doing, it's really a shining light in the dark remote areas. And now we are working on a 20 years plan actually. In 20 years, we want to see this light should be shining in the other districts of the Gilgit-Baltistan. Gilgit-Baltistan have 10 districts. So we want in next 20 years 10 high school in the Gilgit-Baltistan, at least one high school in each district. We want to see many vocational training centers on the doorstep of the poorest and disadvantaged women. We want to take the training from Gilgit to the doorsteps of the remote villages. We want to give more scholarship to the to the to the disadvantaged children. So this is our hope, and this is what we are praying, and this is what we are asking God, and we are pretty hopeful that God is going to do a miracle, and this light will be shining even more in the far-flung valleys and in the lives of the people. This light is originally a good news, and this good news will set the life free of the people of the Gilgit-Baltistan.
So the school's been going for a long time, and it was established for the poor, oppressed people in Gilgit, the Christian community. How have you seen it change over the years?
Well, this, as you said, this school was started for the most marginalized children, and over the year this school is growing up. And in the beginning, once we started that school, we realized that we should build this school to reach out the other communities as well, and especially the elite class of the region, so that we should generate our own funds, and those funds will help us to move on and to further fulfill our dreams and visions. So then over the years we are working on this on this special thought that we should open this school to reach out the elite and rich class of the Gilgit-Baltistan, and their children are studying there. They are paying the fee, and with that fee we are running the whole school, and plus 100 students are being subsidized.
And why do you think then, because it seems when you first came you weren't exactly welcomed with open arms, why now do you think they're choosing to send their children to this school?
Well, Shining Light speaks for the quality education, and once you provide quality education to the community, and definitely this is one of the biggest desire of the rich elite class. They want to send their children to a best institution to get the quality education. So that is the one reason. And then the second reason, Shining Light Academy uh, focused on the biblical values and ethics and morals. So teaching about more about values based education. So well, the elite class like this as well. So these are the two major reason people send their children to our school.
Okay. And is the school full now?
Well, we have all the classes are full now, and even we have students in our waiting list.
How many are on the waiting list?
Well, we are keep on maintaining the waiting list, you know. So roughly there are more than 200 students in our waiting list.
But is it easy to get into the school, or?
Well, Shining Light always prefer their own students, you know, who are starting school from the beginning, you know, from the kindergarten, and these are those students who reach the upgrades, you know. But sometime we have the students from the bureaucratic families, or the government officials, or the politicians who transfer time to time to the different regions, and then there are the seats are available. So then we go to our waiting list and contact to the people who are in the waiting list. They come and but they have to conduct the exam. So if they pass the exam, they get the admission. If they don't pass, then it's not possible to get admission at Shining Light.
So there's no reduction of the standard, even if it's a politician or something?
Well, quality is our slogan and quality is our recognition. That's why Shining Light stand, you know, over the years, and that's why people prefer. We don't use our money on the big advertisements. So Shining Light name stand for the quality, you know, and this is our advertisement.
So can you talk again about why you're considering moving to a new school?
Well, our dream is, you know, to provide at least one high school to the 10 districts of the Gilgit Baltistan. This is our dream. Why? Because we want to, there are the different reasons, you know. Number one, we want to raise the quality godly leadership from this region based on the biblical values and ethics and morals, so that they could be the future leadership for this region and even for our country. Number two, we want to run these schools to reach out all the communities who are living in this region, share the love of God with them. And then number three, we want to generate our own funds, you know. We can't rely all the times or years to years from the outside funding, you know. We have experienced in 2011 and 12, especially internationally, there was a recession time, and we faced a big financial crisis here in our institution. So for the long run, international funding is not going to be a reliable source, you know. We don't know the situation of the world, and we don't know the situation of our own country. So we need to generate our own funds, and there is a money here in this region which is there, and the elite class and the business community and the bureaucrats and the educators, they have the money, and they're willing to spend on their children, you know.
Like everywhere, people will always pay for the best education for their children.
So once there is the money, you know, so why shouldn't we try to build the institutions with high standards, so that people should pay the money and their children get the quality education. Meanwhile, we can use those funds to subsidize the poor children who can be getting education, quality education, sitting with the elite class children.
Yeah, and just going back to Shining Light Academy in Gilgit, particularly, you're at the moment it's on one site, but you're thinking about moving it to another site. Why is that?
Well, right now we are doing our operations in a rented building. So, but we can't do our operations according to what we want in the rented building. So we are paying $1,700 per month, and plus, this agreement always, is in the risk, It depends on the landlord,
And he has other plans?
So our landlord, he is planning to build some big plazas, shopping malls actually, where we are running the school. So we are in the contract, we have just 4 more years, and after the 4 more years, we have to evacuate this property. We have to leave, So right now we are just dreaming and even longing, and trying our level best to buy our own property and build our own school, so that should be a proper school building, and it will be more reliable to fulfill our vision and dreams, and plus, it will be open for the more students to get admission.
Yeah.
So land is available. The only hindrance is the availability of the funds, So we need funds to buy this land and build this school building.
This site you've identified, what are the main benefits of the site? What are the good things?
Well, our city, Gilgit city, which is the capital of the Gilgit-Baltistan, it's growing rapidly, and every year there are more new houses, and all the other 9 districts, people are moving to the capital city. So big piece of land is not available. So and the city is growing rapidly, and that the piece of land which we want to buy is a bigger piece of land which is available very close to the cantonment, and security wise it's the best site, and plus it's in the middle of the different communities. Its access is very easy, and plus it's on the main road. It's on the main road, and this big piece of land is available, and the owner is willing to sell this piece of land. So all these things move us to buy this land.
Obviously, with all of these, the elite security of their kids is important, and in the centre of Gilgit there's a militarised area. If you could just explain a bit more about that. That it's a safe area.
Yeah, it's a safe area. As I told you, it's just close to the cantonment. So it's security wise, it's the best area, and it is provide satisfaction, especially to the parents, and while the children are safe, and the plus it's a lot of security already there, so it's safe to work over there.
And it seems to me from what you said that the community, the elite community, have become, from the beginning to now, their attitude towards you has really changed.
Well, once we live in a region where different things happen on a different times. Since we started to run this school, and we are able to have relationship with the different kinds of families who belong to the different communities. It's creating the harmony actually between the different communities, and even between us and the different communities. So they, somehow they are recognizing that shining light is helping their children to be the future leader.
Mm. So going on, we've talked about it already, but the Gujar community, these really are. Talk about how they were when you first met the Gujar community and the first time you went to meet them.
Well, it's a long story. Um, One day I was coming with my friends after a hike from a mountain, and then we were just talking about the mountains, and then my friend, he was telling me about the different people group who live in those mountains, and then he suddenly started to talk about Gujar community, and he started to tell me all the bad things what was happening there. He was telling me they are the very extreme people, they are the uncivilized, they are the uneducated, and they 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 have the different wives, and then the marriage age of the girls is between 8 to 12, and all these bad things he was telling me. And while he was telling me all these things, I was feeling more and more compassion for that community. So at the end of his conversation, I asked him, "Would you like to come with me? I want to do visit that community." And he was a bit afraid, but I convinced him. And then after a week, he and me, we went to visit one first Gujar village. That was first time in my life. So we went there and we were praying and asking God, God, show us the man of peace. And then suddenly we saw a religious leader of that village who was walking toward us, and he was quite angry. And he asked us, who gave you permission to visit my village? And we said, we did not know we need permission to visit your village. And he said, but you did need to get permission. So he was getting angry. And then I was praying in my heart, what should we do now? And suddenly an idea hit my brain, and I said, well, look, we want to celebrate Eid. Eid was a festival which was coming to their village. We want to celebrate Eid with you. And then he said, why? And I said, well, I want to bless the gifts to your orphanages and widows. And then he asked, how many? So I said, it's better you tell me. And he said, 150. And on the Eid day, come direct to the mosque, and where we will distribute the gifts. I prepared 150 gifts, and on the Eid day I went direct to the mosque. We distributed the gifts, and they gave me time to speak to the people. And then I talked to the people, and I encouraged them that they should send their children for the education, because education is a key to be prosper. Education is a key to be civilized. So, well, at the end of that, we have back and forth few meetings, and then they were willing me to open first school in the madrasa. Actually, madrasa is a religious school, so for their children, by providing 2 teachers from their own community. So we were agreed, and in that contract it was mentioned that once in 3 months I'm allowed to visit their villages. So then the day came, we were going to sign the contract, and that day I thought maybe I should disclose who I am. So and then before signing, I told them that today I want to tell you who I am. And they said, we know that you are our brother, And I said, well, I'm your brother, but I want to tell you, about my faith. And I told them I'm Masihi, which is a Urdu word, and they did not know about Masihi. And they said, oh, whatever, we are brothers, we are the Muslim brothers. So I said, well, but I'm Christian. and even they did not know Masihi and Christian. And then I tell them with the Arabic word, I said I'm Isai, and then they heard that, and then the religious people, he stood up. They stood up and they said, "Why did you come to our village? Do you want to convert us?" And I said, "No, uh, I can't convert you. I have no power and authority to convert you. Only God." And then they asked me, "Why did you want to come to our villages?" And I said, "Well, I want to educate your children. I want to bring life in your village." And then he asked me, the religious leader, "Why did not you tell us that you are Isai?" So I said, "Well, because you did not ask me." Oh, then he was quite angry, and then he was keep on asking, "Why did not you tell?" And I was telling him, "Because you did not ask me." And then he said, "Okay, write down in the contract, that you will be not bringing any kind of religion to our village." So I said, "Okay." Then things went on, and one day this fellow, his wife's eyesight got blocked, and he wanted my help. So I asked him to bring his wife to the Gilgit city, and then we helped him in the surgery, and she got her eyesight back. And that was the day God touched his heart after a year. Then he invited me at his home, and he served me tea, and then he asked me the different questions. And since that time, he is a man of key. He helped us a lot to reach the other villages. And then he was the man, who allowing us, to open more school in the school buildings. There was school buildings built by the government, but they were not using those buildings to educate the children, but to put the goats and cows in those buildings. So we cleared those buildings, we did the whitewash, and now the children are studying there. We started with one village, then we reached to the next village, and now, by the grace of God, we are running the schools in the 5 different valleys, and things are growing.
And now, when you go there, the reception is very different.
Well, now the things have totally changed. Now the people accept you and people respect you. They think the Shining Light is the organization who played a vital role to bring change in their mentality, to bring change in their thinking, and even to bring change, in their poorest lifestyle. Their children are in school, and now they started to send their daughters to school. It considered sin, years ago. Now they are taking their daughters to school, and even some of the girls, they are completing high school. Just 1 year ago, we put first lady from their own village to a school as a teacher. So, well, they recognize that what Shining Light have done in their lives.
Okay. I think
Yeah.
anything else we need to talk about?
Well, at the end, I will say, please, this is not the work of Shining Light.
Yeah. Sorry, finish that, and then one other thing.
At the end, I will say this is not only the work of Shining Light. This is our work. This is the work of our Heavenly Father, and He is the owner of the work, and we are the partners. We do the work what we can do sitting here in the region, but you people can support this work by your prayers and by visiting the projects, seeing the people, encouraging them, and so that these people should have the well established lives, by the power of the education.
And
It's almost 12.
Yeah.
okay. So then the last thing, really, to go back over the future plans, to just make sure, really thinking about how we covered it a bit this morning. So you've done a lot already, but is there much more still to do?
Well, as I talked to you with about the 20 years plan, that we want to establish more schools, at least one school, in each districts. We want to set more vocational training center in the Gujar communities, because the women's are the key in the to develop the society, and sorry to say, in those communities, women are considered the lower than men, so that's we are trying to lift them up, and educate them, and then teach them the different skills, so that they should be the playing the vital role in the development of their families and even in their community. So there are many things need to be done, which we can't do just with our own strength, we need a whole range of a team, so I invite you people as well. We need partners, and we need people who should own the work actually, and say this is our work, because God loves everybody, and God loves Pakistan, God loves Gilgit Baltistan, and God loves the people who lives in the mountains. So I do want to invite you, please come and join our hands to for the betterment of the society.